two elements of essential things in this particular bass line from Israel Crosby. Let's jump right into the first thing, which is this famous line that you'll hear over and over and over again from many, many bass players. We all know it. And if you don't know it yet, you gotta learn it. It goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's slow that down and try to analyze it and figure out what it is. It starts on the 6th degree of whatever chord is happening in the moment. In this instance, in this recording, it's a C major 6 or 7, depending. So it's a C major chord, and it starts on the 6th degree of the C major scale. So we're going to use all numbers that relate to the major scale of the chord that we're on in the moment. So we're talking about C major. So it goes 6, 5. So I'm starting up here. A to the 5th is G. Then it goes 3rd and root. There's E and C. Then 4 and 3. So that's F, E. Then the lower root. So I'm going to do the C down here. Then the low G, 5th, 2nd degree to the root. Then we go to the lower 5th again. That's the 3rd, and then 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, and then in this instance, in this chord progression, the next chord is a D chord, and we're gonna play D on the root. So let's do that whole line, but slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. Time, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, 3, root 4, 3, root 5th, 2, root 5, 3, 6, 5, 3, root 2. The reason we're using numbers is because this is one way that we can quickly translate this line into another key. And we're going to talk about other chords, other keys. We'll keep these same numbers, but we're talking about the new information in relation to the scale of that chord. So if we go to, as an aside, the better way to learn this is just do it by ear. So if you really want to do the best way, stop the video here and just go over and over again and learn it by ear. A quick way in, though, is to use these numbers. So let's say we're going to do now, instead of C major 7, we're going to go everything down a whole step. And we're going to do B flat major. So those same numbers apply. 6, 5, 3, root, 4, 3, all that, but in relation to B flat major. B flat major scale, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. So we're going to start on the 6th degree, and we're going to start relatively high when you have the choice, because the whole line descends. And so we don't want to run out of room on the instrument. So thankfully, we're still not too high. We're on thumb position here. The 6th degree is G, so we'll use thumb position G. 6, 5 is F. 3rd is D, root, B flat, 4, E flat. 3rd, lower root. 5th, 2nd degree of the scale, C, to the root again. Now we're going to start the next part on the 5th, lower 5th. 3rd, 6, G to F, the 5th. 3rd, root, and then the next chord in this instance would be C. So like that. It would be a C7 chord in this particular kind of, if we're copying this exactly. So in tempo, in this new key, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time, 2, 3, 4. And we can put it up another fourth. Again, let's say we're going to do A flat instead of, so we're going down a whole step instead of up a fourth. Let's go down another whole step to A flat. Same exact thing. We're going to start on the 6th degree. It goes 6, 5, 3 root, so the 6 degrees F. That's the 5th, E flat. 3rd is C, root, 4th, 3rd, lower root, 5th, 2nd degree. Yep. Then the 5th, 3rd, 6, 5, root. I'm sorry, 3rd, root. Next chord there. So, bad fingering there, but you get the idea. So you can use this in lots and lots of places, and we'll talk in more detail about that and other things about this amazing bass line right now. Welcome to Learn Jazz Bass with Matt Rubicki. I'm glad that you're here. I have on the thumbnail that this might be the best bass line of all time ever. And there is perhaps a justifiable reason to say that. And here's my argument. I will try to defend my position. This contains all the things that I think are fantastic about playing jazz bass. The sound that Israel Crosby is getting is unbelievable. The feel that he's getting is unreal. The note choices are clever, beautiful, and totally fit in a functional way, but also have a very special melodic quality to them. His time, unbelievable. Not just the swing feel, but his actual sense of time is unbelievable. Also, he is participating in the ensemble, the trio, in a way that is unbelievable. So you've got this series of things that are, I think most people would agree, absolutely great. And so he fulfills all these things that make a bass line great. And so this could be perhaps the best, certainly probably one of the best. And I'm not trying to start a fight, I promise, but I truly do love this so much. In fact, this whole particular line, I've got some stories from Juilliard about it. One thing is, for myself, that on my senior recital, I performed this as almost an etude. I performed the bass line from memory at the time. I didn't do it from memory right now. It's been a long time, but I performed it from memory, and my colleagues who were playing with me also played the parts from the recording exactly. The idea was almost like to treat it like a classical piece of music because it is so special. Rather than any of us improvising, we're just trying to play exactly what was played in the moment. And further than that, apparently last year or a couple of years ago, all the bass players who were around the Juilliard program, including those who were there and other alumni, at a sort of bass day, I don't exactly remember all the specifics, maybe somebody will correct me, but there's a bunch of bass players on stage and all of them are playing this exact line together. I don't know from memory or not, but as a tribute to how special this bass line is. Why is it so special? Let's talk about some of the details. But before we get into that, let me talk just a little bit more about this famous line that we went over in the first half of the video. As I said, everybody should know it. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to play it, but at the beginning when you're starting out playing with friends, it's super fun to put it in as many places as you can just because it's immediately recognizable to most listeners of jazz who spend any time listening, and certainly to pianists and drummers, because we're all listening to Ahmad Jamal. So it's immediately recognizable. It connects everybody really, really quickly, and it can be either funny or it can be, you could put it in a way that is really interesting or compelling. There's a couple things though. Don't overdo it. Don't expect in all instances to get everyone to think it's great because it is really cliche, and cliches, have their place. So there's something to keep in mind. Also, if I would recommend just a personal thing, don't throw it in when there's a lot going on. You need the space for all this whole line, and it really fits best usually when there is space being left for you to actually play it. Although you can do away with all those things I just said, and there is certain instances where it's even funnier to put it where it doesn't belong, to transpose the pattern in a way that matches another kind of chord. In other words, if there's a really weird, whatever D7 flat 5 flat 9 or something, and you're sort of fitting the notes in that match that, it can kind of sound funny. So it can be tongue in cheek as well. So it's got a lot of power in it in and of itself. And what I didn't mention at the very beginning either is if we talked about there's just these basic notes, it's all just from the major scale, but it's all circling around the triads. It's all circling around root and fifth. Here this is an approach to the fifth, and then that's all circling the third. This is all circling the root, right? This is all circling the fifth. That's the fifth. And then we're finishing it there. But you see what I'm saying? It's approach the fifth, get to the third, get to the root, fifth, third, and then go on there. So it's got a simplicity that is easy, I think, to latch onto, and it also can allow us time to play up here on the upper part of the bass, which, some of us at the beginning of our journey need a little more time to work on. So putting this in other keys, which I have in the attached PDF written out, putting this in other keys also is a technical workout too. So we've got this individual statement that he makes here, and I can't say, I don't know that I've ever heard of anybody saying who actually wrote that. I don't know if he came up with it or if Ahmad Jamal came up with it. I would assume that Israel Crosby came up with it, being the master that he is, and he uses it in other variations in other ways. He sort of manipulates it in many other performances with Ahmad Jamal. So it's sort of like part of his vocabulary. So my strong inclination is that he actually wrote it. And that's another thing too, that makes it perhaps one of the, adds to that bucket of things that make it such a great line, is that besides the sound and the time and playing with the ensemble and playing good notes, he's also making an individual statement, like he sounds like himself. So there's another thing to add in to the argument for this being great. When we look at the first page, like for example, on measure 31, we've got this really fantastic, when you listen really carefully, this really fantastic bite of a percussive statement. And he makes statements like this a couple times in here that will do over time as he plays as well, where there's a snap to it in a way that offsets the sort of smooth and legato quality of a lot of his line. Like it's that variation, or the diametrically opposed thing of being smooth and sharp, having moments of sharpness, having moments of smooth in how you are articulating things that make things interesting. If we go from measure 30, which by the way, I have a parenthetical E there in the triplet. I'm not sure if he actually plays it. I think it's in there, but it's 1, like that, 1, and then it's almost like just an X note, but the note is there, B, so like that kind of sort of aggressive thing isn't coming out in the whole line. That's a special moment there. And then as we get into the actual walking quarter notes, we have this majesty of the poetic sort of rhyming quality of these notes, the melodies that they create, question, answer, or rhyming. I know other people have talked about this, but it bears repeating. Take a look at the first 7 measures, for example. He plays statement, answer, continued answer, continue, continue. All right, so he sets up an idea and it keeps sort of answering himself, saying more about that idea. Starting again from measure 34. Why is that 34? That should be 33. Because of the pickup measure, that's why. Starting again from there. Continuing the idea. Up. It's like everything is question, answer, question, answer. And on top of it, the notes themselves make a beautiful melody, don't they? I mean, it's not just strict adhering to, certainly not roots on downbeats. Yes, he starts with the root. Jumping right to a 6th which in my last video I was like, don't make this kind of jump unless you know what you're talking about, like a major 6th. But it works because of the continuation of the idea. If that leap went into a bunch of other unconnected leaps, it wouldn't make sense, but doesn't stick out because of what comes after. So it sounds like he's getting to the G. That's the sort of the strong point. That's the sort of noun of the sentence, so to speak, or the verb, you might say. And now he's going to continue or answer that. Starts on the 3rd of D minor 7, plays the 5th of G, and he plays a C on G7. We're taught in school not to play the 4th degree on a major chord or a dominant chord. Why does it work? Because it's all a statement. It's all one melodic statement. And if we were to put this into 8th notes, it sounds equally good. So that's one good way to test. Does your line sound good, or is it melodic? Pretty good. Not the most challenging thing, but maybe if I changed where the rhythmic part was, if I went 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It came upon a midnight clear is kind of what it sounds like. Same with the other part of the line. Here's 36. Or 1. Or 1, 2. 1, 2. And or putting triplets in there. 1, 1, 2. Something like that. Just playing with those notes. The notes themselves are good. Unbelievable. Also starting to get this idea here in this right away in this line, and something that Israel Crosby is known for, to me, at least what I hear, is that there is somehow he gets away with delaying or preparing the important notes of a chord till later than they should be. Here's what I mean. Rather than putting the root on the downbeat, he's playing the preparatory note for the root on beat 1. Examples of that would be, well, in the first 4 measures, we're using chord tones on the downbeat, which is fine. But a really strong example of that is in 38, 39, and 40. He plays D to E. There's the third. That isn't even the root. He's preparing the third. D, E, 6, 5. So 2, 3, 6, 5. The important notes there, or the notes that relate to the chord there, are the E and the G. But he is preparing them ahead of time, 1 beat ahead of time. This happens elsewhere in this particular line as well. This is not a long tune, but this happens a couple other times as well. If we go to, for example, 58, the chord here is an F major, and he plays G on the downbeat, G to A, and then C to F. That's fine. But one of the reasons he's doing that is if you back up, we were on 38 there, 58, go to 56, and the idea makes so much sense that he is cleverly getting himself out of a little corner he backed himself into. Starting from 56, and there's an answer there. Those are questions and answers. Let's go back even further. You might hear a little more clearer. Let's go back to 54. That's all. He's wrapping up his thought of that descending whole tone thing he's doing through those chords. So he's wrapping that up, but he plays F on beat 4 before the chord changes to F major. So doesn't lose his mind, just continues on, and from F plays G on the downbeat to the third. It also has the benefit of having this like really pleasant sound to it when you are preparing the note that has weight to it with another pretty note. He does that as well, and if we continue on, so starting from 58, G, A, 5, root, third, and now 2 root. See, he played the second degree on the downbeat, played D to C. But taken into context, he's really encircling C by what comes before. If we look at measure 59, we just played A, D. Now here, B, D, C. That's the point there. He's encircling it. B, D, C. And then, now check this out. Here's 62. Question, answer, question, in the same vein, answer. It's right there. I mean, it's phenomenal, and there's nothing so complicated about this at all. One thing that also, as many times as I had listened to this before I had some lessons with Ben Wolf, I never really realized that it changes keys. Like, I feel like such a dummy that I never realized that in this moment to come, they actually go to the key of F instead of the key of C. And it happens so naturally and so musically that it just absolutely doesn't stick out at all, to me at least. And it was years before I realized that's what was happening. Even after I had transcribed this line, I still didn't actually think about what was happening, which is not good for me. And in 68, now we're in the key of F, and he is starting to sort of hint at that original line. We should give that line a name, the Israel ice cream or something. He's starting to hint at that in the new key, but he doesn't play it exactly. Instead, he plays, sorry. So it's similar to if in the key of F, but it's not quite the same. He's just sort of mirroring the shape of it. Not good fingering there, but I'm sort of thinking as I'm playing. So there's an instance where, like I said, he takes that idea and he's playing with it in many other recordings, including right here. He's got another instance of encircling a target note. If you go to 72, measure 72, he's and not starting on, in fact, he doesn't play the root in this bar at all. This is an F7 chord, and he plays G, E flat, the flat 7, B natural, D, but the reason is because he's going to C. So it just sounds right without really sort of functionally making sense at all. There's no chord tone on the downbeat, doesn't even play the root in there. Totally makes sense. Also helped by the fact of what comes before it, which is there's this sort of descending chromatic harmonic thing. It goes G7 to G flat 7 to F7 is essentially what's happening. So if we start before that G7, man, so good. And here in this instance in 74, he's playing these really long notes. There's a couple places here where he's purposely very, very long, almost bleeding into each other like a Ron Carter sort of thing, which is awesome. I found that these leaps that he's playing shouldn't work. Like, again, according to rules that I myself have put forward for us to think about, this shouldn't really work, but it does because of the continuity of the idea itself. Up and down and up and down all makes sense here. There's a purpose, there's a drive, there's a forward motion to it. I don't exactly know whether this was by choice or whatnot, but in 78, with this hit that happens between Arvell Shaw, that happens between Vernel Fournier on drums and also Ahmad on piano. Like, basically what I'm pointing out here is that in measure 78, he leaves 2 beats empty, completely empty. I think he is aware of what's happening in this arrangement, that there is this very subtle but very powerful, because of its subtlety, splash or crash on a cymbal, and he's just letting that exist there. He is, much like Ahmad, in leaving space, he himself, Israel Crosby, is also leaving space to punctuate the statement of itself. What comes before it, if we go to 76, he's descending, crash, and he doesn't let that G ring, which to me would be my instinct. So I would let it ring, but he stops it short. Rest, and then so good. There's more as far as this sort of question and answer or leaps that make sense. If we go to 82, measure 82, he plays roots, third, roots, third, roots, third, third. But basically it's this descending fifth, right? And then one more time. You know? It's just those leaps out of context don't work as successfully as this. I'll play that again from 82. So good. More question and answer in or rhyming in 88 when he plays that same sort of idea again, but with a little bit of a twist. The A to D. I'm sorry, that's out of tune. Oh, not too bad. And this also hints at that Israel Crosby ice cream thing, that first lick. He plays. He possibly plays a low F or a high F here. It's hard to say, but rhyming it totally rhymes what he started with. Absolutely brilliant. Another thing that I want to mention sort of broadly is something that I've talked about before in some instance, I don't remember where, but one of the things that I love about what Israel Crosby does, and I think gives him that added sense of having a melodic quality to a line when the chords are especially very diatonic like this, like it's all sort of in one key. The embracing and use and almost like emphasis on using the second and the sixth degrees of a major scale in interesting ways. Those are pretty notes. That would be the 9 and the 13 of a major chord, for example. So in C major, that would be the D and the A. Using those as purposeful tools to add color to the line. And it's something he often does in a lot of his performing. So don't shy away from those is my suggestion to you. I know I did when I was starting out. I was scared of using especially the 6th or 13th. Like I didn't hear it. It didn't make sense to me to put in a line. I just stayed away from it. But what Israel shows us here is that there is absolute beauty in these couple of notes. He is not only not shying away from them, but using them as approach notes to the other notes like we talked about. D to C, right? A to G. It's all over this line and in lines that he plays in many other instances. So get this PDF that I've got linked below, and please spend time really listening to it and try to get the feel right. Check out the sound. Really consider what his notes are in relation to the harmony that's happening, and very importantly, what's happening in the ensemble. It's a really truly special thing. And I hope that you will put it on high on your list of great bass lines too. Thanks for joining me as always. And remember, straight ahead and strive for tone.